Hey, everybody, welcome. Good morning, and welcome to Greater Life, Greater Impact. I'm so excited to present to you. This is episode 32 of our Spiritual Sovereignty series. And I am just so honored to be able to have had this journey with each and every one of you. And some of you are new and just getting started. If you are new, I highly recommend that you go back and watch previous episodes of our Spiritual Sovereignty series. So today is episode 32, and we are going to be talking about how to navigate the expanse of the infinite as a spiritually sovereign being. I think about the universe, and I think about spirituality, and I think about all of the different levels of reality that there are out there, and all the ways that we can see things through different paradigms and through different lenses. And that can be really scary when you don't really feel like there's anything absolute for you to stand on. That can be very, very scary if you just feel like you're floating around in the void and anything's true. And so I want to kind of have this discussion or cover this topic at the very minimum. I think our next class, we're probably going to have to break this into a two-part series, but our next class will be part 2 of this, navigating the expanse of the universe. There's just so much to it, and we can get caught up. So before I do that, I just need to warn you, those of you who are just now jumping on, this class is only going to be about a half hour. So there's not going to be a lot of time for discussion. I'm sorry. But next week, it will be more open for discussion for you guys to jump on and share your thoughts and ideas and concerns and questions and all that stuff. Today, I'm just going to present to you some topics or just some learning, some things that I've been learning about. And I want to share that with you. If there's time at the very end, then we'll open it up to comments or questions or just whatever remarks that you may have. At the half-hour mark, I'm going to turn the time over to my really good friend, Joshua Bloom. He's going to be talking to us more about the quantum energy transformation pendants that he created. And as we all know and love Joshua, he's amazing. And he has some updates to share with you. So he's going to take the second half of the class. Let's jump into this topic now. I'm going to share my screen here and give you just a little bit of something to look at, some visuals. All right, here we go. Let me just move this bar up a little bit. All right, navigating the infinity as a sovereign being. So spiritually sovereign beings operate in the authority of their own selves so that they can govern themselves with discernment and with clarity and exercising their own free will. That's what spiritually sovereign beings do. They claim their own inner authority. It's basically standing in your own inner truth with a lot of confidence and clarity and courage to act in alignment with who you feel that you are, the truth of who you really are. And that takes a tremendous amount of confidence and discernment and clarity. So let's get into how do we do that. Okay. As I said in the invitation to this class, I do feel that free will is probably the most important law in the universe. Operating in 100% of the fullness of your own agency and free will and autonomy. The spiritual sovereign beings, what they do is they align themselves with truth, or at least they try to. They acknowledge logical, objective reality. So objective reality, we're going to get into what that means in just a minute. While at the same time, they're allowing for the subjective, infinite expanse to come in and expand them and raise their vibration to higher levels of truth. They see that there are many realities, and they choose based on clarity and discernment and a balance of these different realities. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about what is reality. As you start to awaken spiritually and level up to higher levels of understanding, it's almost like we really do have to shake off old paradigms and step into new paradigms, stepping into new unknown, the void, basically. And that can be a little bit scary and uncertain and hard when the rest of the world isn't following you or doing what you're doing and you feel so alone. Somebody coined the phrase, I was watching a YouTube video the other day on this very topic, and she was talking about how as we wake up and level up, it's like new level, new devil, new deceptions that we can fall into. But you know what? That's the risk that we take if we want to expand our soul's journey. And so let's just talk about reality. I personally believe there are many different levels of reality. There are many different realities. One of the realities that we can focus on is this three-dimensional material world that we live in. Some people would call that the objective world. It's the tangible, the material, the fixed mental positions, the boxed in paradigms and programs of culture and religion and society and all the things that say, hey, this is what truth really is. This is what reality really is. We have all the truth, and therefore you must conform to this box. That's just one reality. And if you are only fixed on that one reality, you're going to be subject to having to conform to that reality because there is nothing else for you. And so conformity is the imbalance of objectivity. I hope that makes sense. Conformity is the imbalance of objectivity. Okay, let's go over to this side then. The void. This is another aspect of reality that we have an opportunity to participate in. The void, which I would call spirit, you could call it just about anything, the etheric, the non-tangible, the spiritual realm. Just because it's not tangible and just because it's a lot more open and subjective doesn't mean that it's not a reality. Both of these two constructs or paradigms are realities. So the void or spirit is subjective, which means it's a lot more open than it is fixed and in a box. It's non-tangible, it's etheric, you can't prove it. It's intuitive, it's non-material, it's open-minded and expansive. But that expansion can be scary for some people because we don't know how to navigate that. We haven't been taught how to navigate that because we've been taught in this physical world that our job is to just conform to the box, to the paradigms. So if all you're focused on is the void or the spiritual reality, you can, the imbalance of that is to become delusional. If you're so confident in the spirit realm being the only reality for you, then you may come across as or even be delusional. So there has to be a balance of these two different realities. And there are many, many, many paradigms, many dimensions, many realities. But these are the two that I want to focus on today as we develop in our sovereign abilities. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about sovereignty. We've talked about it all year, but I want to just reiterate a couple of things in regards to sovereignty then. If you look at this list, this is just a tiny aspect of what sovereignty really is, but hopefully this paints a bit of a picture so that you can wrap your minds around the concept of what it truly means to be a spiritually sovereign being. So sovereignty will help us to not get lost in the void, but at the same time, not get trapped in boxes, right, of this physical 3D reality. So sovereign beings are beings who seek light, they're truth seekers, They weigh a healthy balance of objective reality, which is logic and reason, and this 3D world, and operating within the rules and laws of the 3D world, such as the laws of physics and the laws of nature and the laws of the universe, and like laws of gravity. We have a healthy balance of the objective reality in conjunction with the subjective reality, which is the spiritual realm, and how to operate there and how to navigate there and how to access both of these realities, but bring balance to them. A lot of people believe that the objective reality, which is the 3D construct of this, maybe it's not even the 3D, but it's the material world with logic and reason and fixed mental positions. Many people believe that that is the divine masculine when it's in balance. And then many people believe that the subjective reality is the divine feminine when it's in balance and not delusional. And when the divine masculine is not totally seeking for control and conformity. Sovereign beings also, I believe that a key piece to sovereignty is discernment. If you don't know how to discern in either of these different realms or realities of truth for you and bring balance to the two, it's really easy to get lost in all of that. Okay. So we have discernment, then we also have clarity. So sovereign beings, since they are truth seekers, they're looking for alignment and balance through the power of discernment. With all of those things in place, now as a sovereign being, you are confident enough to self-govern. And you are confident enough to say, okay, this is where I stand. This is where I'm going. This is where I operate. I don't apologize for any of that, but at the same time, I can still meet people where they are. So in my opinion, today, talking about navigating the infinite as a spiritually sovereign being, what we really want is confidence, to feel secure enough in operating in our own inner authority. That's really what we're all seeking for. And what we're navigating is the unknown. And it's scary to operate in the unknown. But as spiritually ascended beings, as we start to wake up and level up and ascend as spiritual beings that are growing in intelligence and in light, we have to have the confidence and the clarity to be able to discern our way through the void. And if we don't have that confidence, then what can happen to us is that we can easily fall back into leaning on the authority of other people and in order to feel safe. And we don't want to do that. We want to stand confidently in our own inner authority, because that's what you're here to learn. That's what you're here to do. So with that, I want to talk to you about 10 of the major blocks that I came up with that can block us from standing in our sovereignty, from operating from a place of self-governance and inner authority. So the first block is, who has the authority? Who? Do you? Or does somebody else? So block number one is when other people claim to have authority over you and tell us to do something the opposite of what is ringing true inside of your soul. That will create dissonance and disharmony, and it really can pull you out of the place of being able to discern for yourself. So number one is, who has the authority? You need to decide that. And you need to also be paying attention to the people in your world, not just in your own personal life, but in your world, in religion, in the government, in society, in education, in families, in relationships. Who has the authority over you, over your inner GPS? Who has the authority over that? Not them. Okay. Number two, the second thing I find that blocks people is spending too much time with people who want you to be something other than who you really are. If you're constantly being yelled at or nagged at or persuaded or second guessed or caused to second guess yourself, and someone is not approving of the way that you navigate your own spiritual sovereignty and autonomy as a human being, that is going to dramatically block you in being spiritually sovereign. And as a result, you'll either fall into conformity or you'll become delusional because you don't have the discernment and you don't have the clarity and the confidence to stand on your own 2 feet. All right, number 3. Spending too much time in the lower vibrational energies that will cause you to second guess where your higher vibrational self is going. So if you're spending a lot of time in low negative energy, maybe you watch the news, maybe you're listening to all the terrible, horrible things that are going on, and you're getting wrapped up in fear because of all of these crazy things that we're seeing play out in the world. It's going to cause you to question yourself. It's going to cause you to second guess yourself. If you spend a lot of time around negative people, it's going to do the same thing for you. And so you have to be very discerning for your own self as to what energies you're going to allow yourself to get pulled into or sucked into. You have to be very discerning and protective of your own inner peace. If you can maintain a state of inner peace, that's optimal because it's going to help you operate in that place of discernment and clarity that sovereign beings operate in. And you'll be able to not only just stand up for yourself, but you'll be able to navigate from a place of confidence. And what's the other word I'm looking for? Oh, it's not confidence. It's courage, having the courage to step in. Okay, so that one was number 3. We're going to go to number 4. Hold on. Okay, number 4. When the inner voice is conflicted and it's fighting against itself, it's usually because there are negative spiritual interference that's going on. And this can come in the form of voices, entities, energies that are pulling you out of that inner peace and that inner clarity and that inner discernment. When there's 2 or 3 different voices going on in your head all at the same time, causing you to second guess, usually that is as the result of some spiritual interference. And so you have to learn how to take care of that stuff. You have to learn how to clear it, clear your space, clear your mind, clear your inner being. I highly recommend many different tools in my program of quantum healing, but meditation is one of them. But also, more than just meditating, learning how to be centered in the inner beingness of who you really are and go there often and operate from that place. Because if you don't, it's going to be really difficult to have the confidence and the clarity to discern appropriately where you're going, what is right for you, what's in alignment with the highest will for you. And it's going to be more and more difficult for us as beings on this planet to navigate that because there is so much negativity and there is so much fear that's being projected onto us. So you have to take authority over your own inner self and nurture that and take good care of it. It is your greatest tool, is your free will and autonomy and sovereignty. Okay, here we go. Number 5. Another thing that can block us in our sovereign journey on this earth is if you're allowing yourself to be manipulated by other people. Are other people shouting at you, yelling at you? Maybe they're not shouting or yelling at you, but maybe they're trying to influence you or persuade you or get you to buy into something. And they might use, like, this is a pretty extreme picture, but they might use subtle projections. subtle manipulations through what looks like or seems like would be love, but maybe it's not really love at all. Maybe they're using what you think love is to manipulate you. So you have to look at that as well. Are you allowing yourself to be manipulated by others as they project onto you with either anger or what appears to be love or fear? If you look out into the world, it's largely fear-based. And that's how the authorities, the grander, bigger authorities, are trying to get control over your energy, your spiritual energy. They're harvesting that. Number 6, another thing that blocks spiritual sovereignty is you fear taking responsibility for yourself. You know, I was out on a walk just the other day having holy time, which for me is communing with the divine. And I was saying, God, please just give me the answers of what I'm seeking to do. Could you just give me the answers? And I'll obey that. And what I got in return was, it's easier to obey than it is to exercise free will. But the answer isn't in obedience. The answer is in exercising free will and honoring and being true and in alignment with what's really going on inside of you. Anybody can obey, and it makes you feel safe when you do, because you think, oh, well, if I just obey and do what I'm told, then I'm going to be safe and I'm going to be blessed and I'm going to be standing in the light. And this is true righteousness, is obedience. I would extend maybe a thought for you to ponder and consider. And again, please don't take any of my words as absolute truth. Go get your own truth, because I am not your authority. Don't follow me for the sake of following me. Follow your own inner authority and learn how to navigate your own inner truth and be true to that, rather than seeking to obey external authority. Okay. Now you can tell when you're in alignment with your highest inner authority, because it's going to lead you to compassion and love and the desire to serve other human beings and to value and treasure life as sacred. That's how you know that you're in alignment, because those are the fruits. Again, we've talked about this millions of times before, but you have to look at the fruits. Galatians 5:22, go look it up. There's a whole list of them. Corinthians 13, go look it up. There's a whole list of what the actual fruits of true sovereignty and divinity and righteousness, I guess you could call it, really are. Righteousness does not come from obeying people's rules. Righteousness comes when you tap into the highest levels of love within yourself and honor that and act in alignment with that. That's what keeping the commandments really is. The commandments is not, it was never intended to be a big list of rules for you to conform to. That's objective reality as opposed to subjective reality. We have a comment here. Becoming poor.
Nope.
Oh, becoming your own best friend is critical. Yes, it is critical. All right, so we're going to go on to what are we on? Number 7. Here we go. Number 7, some of the things that can block you as well is tradition and culture that might have a stronghold on you. If there are handbooks and rule books and regulations that have a stronghold on your autonomy and sovereignty, you need to take another look at that. You need to take a look at that, and you need to be very discerning about that. I'm not here to tell you what to do, and I'm not here to tell you which rule books or handbooks to get rid of. I'm just here to encourage you and invite you to be more discerning than maybe you have been. Okay, so that's number 7. And then number 8, we've got 2 more to go. 8, if you look at this picture, This picture shows the balance again between the three density world, the objective reality versus the subjective reality, which is the expansiveness of the universe. One is constricted and restricted, and it is about conformity. It is about conforming to very specific paradigms that have been set out on this planet, rules of traditions of the way that culture has told you are the rules of reality, versus the subjective reality, which is the expansiveness of the universe that opens you up to infinite potential and infinite possibility. So if there's an imbalance between these two things, I'm not saying that they have to war against each other either, because there's nothing wrong with this material reality that we find ourselves in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong with spirituality. Where we can get out of alignment is when we throw one out or the other out. Throw the baby out with the bathwater, when really what we're seeking to do is bring alignment with the physical, with the physical world and objective reality, to the spiritual or etheric world, which is subjective reality. So these two things need to work together. Too much confidence in the etheric reality is delusion, and too much confidence in the objective reality is conformity. So when we receive a truth, there's always going to be a shadow side of that truth. So there's going to be a truth, and there's going to be a distorted truth, like a darker version of that truth. And we need to exercise, we need to learn how to exercise discernment in order to get the clarity that we're seeking. That's why we came to this planet. Many people have said that this earth is probably one of the darkest, most challenging, dense, heavy places to come for learning, as souls come into this earth, and they can get entrapped in the karmic energy of just recycling over and over and over and over and over on this earth without leveling up and rising up and learning the lessons to overcome that karmic cycle. Many people believe that we came here to learn how to rise above some of the heaviest gunk ever. So we have to exercise discernment. In fact, that's why we're here. That's why we opted to come to this planet, which is school, to teach us discernment. That's why we came here, so we could exercise it. All right, blockage number 9. Hopefully this helps you. Is being too dependent on somebody else's clarity, knowledge, wisdom, and authority, rather than going within and checking in on the authority from within that comes from the divine, that comes from your higher authority. Sometimes if we get too scared of flying off into the void and becoming and losing our identity and losing our foothold, it's easy for us to latch on to people who are pounding the pulpit and proclaiming absolute truth and relying on somebody else's clarity and their knowledge and their wisdom, rather than going within. Okay, so that can block you in sovereignty very much. And we see it. Look around you at the people who are so clingy to these kinds of things. People who follow other people on the internet, and then yet they can't think for themselves. They can't rationalize for themselves because they're too busy being caught up in adhering to what somebody else is saying. That's not sovereign. And even if you're blaming it on God and saying, God told me this and God told me that, and God told me to do this, and I'm just trying to obey, that's not sovereign either. Sovereignty is consulting. It's gathering as much information and wisdom as you possibly can from outside sources, for sure. But then it's consulting with your inner wisdom before you act in alignment with it. And then lastly, the last block that I see that will block us from being sovereign in navigating the infinite is not cultivating our own discernment to create that masterful version of ourselves. This is where, in this inner discernment of your own true self, this is where we really transmit or transmute the darkest gunk and the darkest, heaviest, most deceptive energies into the highest light. But we have to be able to transmute that from within. And nobody can teach it to you. No one can tell it to you. No one can give it to you. It is an inner work that only you can do. You are the authority over your own free will. You are the authority over your own navigation and your own life. And therefore, as a result of that, the onus is on you. And that can be really scary for people because we don't want to accept the fullness of responsibility. We don't want to take complete and total responsibility for everything that's happening in our life. So that was the 10 blocks for spiritual sovereignty as you learn how to navigate the expansiveness of the multiverse and the universe and the expanded amount of knowledge that's there. Something that I hear a lot from people is God would never tell you to do that. God would never tell you to do that. God would never do this, or God would never do that. I keep hearing that. I've heard it 3 times this week, just on the internet alone, just on Facebook, as people are being told that by their authorities or by leaders who claim authority over them. You don't have authority over someone. You may have stewardship over loved ones and family and people that you care about and people that you take care of. That's different than having authority over somebody. So I really want you to kind of ponder on that a little bit, because how do you know what God would or wouldn't say or do or guide or tell you as a sovereign being to do? Because think of how expansive this universe really is. Think about it. Think of how expansive the multiverse really is. There are multiple universes here. Think about that. And then think about when people try to conform and put God in specific boxes and say, no, God operates in this box. He's a God of order, and he only operates the way I say he can operate. Okay, that's it for me, for my segment. I'm going to turn the rest of the time over to my dear friend, Joshua. Joshua, if you need to take a few extra minutes, feel free, because I took 4 minutes over.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm just going to turn the time to you. Let me see if I can find your camera. We're going to add the pin. There we go. And I'm going to take me off and take it away. I'm excited for you to talk about these and share the latest update. So go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, everyone. I love what you're talking about here, Janet, because we need to take our power back. That is really an important thing that we ourselves need to do. And I like how you say it's our own inner work, because I really agree with that so much, that our own inner work comes into play when we get to question those things that we've been taught. And what's interesting is Dr. Bruce Lipton says so frequently that we have been told by people, parents, babysitters, teachers, other people of authority, we've been told by them, hey, this is the way life is. This is the way life goes. And without even questioning it, we took it on. As early as being in the womb, we took all that on. And now our beliefs, our values, our attitudes, our identities, who we are is a makeup of what other people told us who we were and who we are. So it's really exciting to begin that process of changing ourselves from the inside based on who we choose to be, who we decide we are, who we decide we get to be moving forward rather than what anybody else has told us. And I think it's a fun experience to be able to step into that, to step into the opportunity that says, well, do I really believe that? Do I really want to buy into this anymore? And for me, this has happened in a big way because I was really anxious. I had a lot of anxiety, and probably because of my programming, right? I was programmed by my teachers, my family, and society to believe so many things that may or may not have been true for me, but I took it on like we all did. And so I became very anxious, and it got worse. And when I thought it got really, really bad and was already as bad as I could take it, it got worse. So that was not good. And so I was dealing with an anxiety problem that I didn't know what it was. Later, I found that it was related to entities, that there were energies that didn't want me to do what I was doing. So they were sabotaging me in a sense. And, you know, when someone told me that I had entities, I told them that they were ridiculous. That's like in the movies. That's not real stuff. That's movie magic. And so I learned that that wasn't true, that the movies are based on a real thing, and that there are negative energies out there. There's negative people out there. There's lots of negativity out there trying to stop us from being who we choose to be. So I created quantum energy transformation from a desperate place of I've got to do something to change my life. And quantum energy transformation did brilliant things for me. It's changed my life in so many ways. I was a whole lot less anxious because I was able to release the anxiety, and I was able to reprogram myself in a way that was better, but I still didn't see the problem, which are the entities. They were out there causing havoc with me, and I didn't realize how big of a problem I had. So somewhat recently, in the last few years, I started to notice that I had entity issues still. And although I studied a lot and I knew how to release them, it still didn't stop them from being a real big pain. It didn't stop them from taking my very high frequency and plummeting it anytime they wanted to. And so I was in a struggle position because not only that was happening, I was getting past life fears showing up. And all of this together was making my life hell, to say the least. And if I thought it was bad 10 years ago when that happened, this time it was even worse. And the energy was so strong and overwhelming and overbearing. And it was so difficult for me to move forward in my life until my spirit guides, who I have named the Travelers, said to me, Joshua, you need to make a pendant. And and when I got the pendants, I realized, you know how many pendants I have bought in my life? So many. I would buy the next best thing all the time because I wanted to resolve my problems, my anxiety, and I did. And what I did was I kept buying pendants, and truthfully, they didn't work. And so when this idea of a pendant came along from the Travelers, my spirit guides, I didn't just say, oh, okay, that's a great idea. I questioned it because I wasn't really convinced that something like a pendant could work for me. Except when I went to the supermarket the first time after wearing the pendant, I realized I didn't pick anything up, and I was clear. That was a game changer. Because if I don't pick anything up, it's not going to get into my house. So it's not going to be there to, make my life hell. So that's what I did. I went and I made the pendant because they told me that I had to make the pendant with more crystals. And so I needed to use different crystals to create a change. And we have a video that goes through that. So I'll let you watch that. That was the last time I was on in Janet's class. But basically, they are crystals, and they are in alignment with each other. They're working in superposition of each other, and they are working in a way that's meant to help sensitive people, empaths, light workers, energy workers, people who are intuitive. It's meant to help you release all that extra stuff that's going on, help you take your power back, help you raise your energy frequency and your trust level so you're not anxious. And that's exactly what it did for me. It stopped me from being anxious because my trust level went from like really horrible to like really good, because the pendant itself raises your trust level upwards of 75% better. So if your trust level is low, we become anxious or scared or worry. If you worry, if you're scared, if you're anxious, any of those things, that's because your trust level isn't high enough. The pendant raises that automatically. And the pendant will start to move energy for you. So it's a quantum pendant. It moves energy at the cellular level of the body where you do not have to participate. In quantum energy transformation, what I taught was, hey, we can get ourselves to move the energy at the cellular level of the body to create a change, to create a shift, to move out the anxiety or whatever the issue is that you're working on, and you can change it. That was the whole point of quantum energy transformation. Take your life back by moving the energy. But it took effort. It took some effort. Now it's effortless. You wear the pendant, and the pendant helps you turbocharge that energy and move it out of your system, which has changed my life. Instead of going from literally 8 hours of being triggered. Have you ever been triggered before? Well, I've been triggered too. And when I've gotten triggered, many times it was for a very, very long time, like 8 hours. Before even that, I've been triggered for like even more, like 24 hours, a couple days, my energy would be plummeted, that kind of thing. And then I brought it down with quantum energy transformation to 8 hours. With the pendant, it takes a couple minutes. And in that video, I show you how to do that, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't seen that video about the pendants, you'll get to see it because Janet will share that with you. Now, then I started to sell the pendants, and they have been a big hit. The pendants have really not only helped me, but have now helped hundreds of people really take back their life in ways that they never expected. And same for me. The same thing happened for me, that I now live my life without an entity problem. I now live my life without other people taking charge of me. I go on the inside of me and decide what I choose. I live my life quite differently now. And it's a lifesaver. It's been a game changer for me too. So I ended up selling out because the pendants did so well. I sold out of pendants, and they were the regular size ones. Let me show you here. They were the regular size ones. They looked like this, or they still do. They look like this. And they have all the beautiful crystals on them, and it's made of selenite. And the crystals who are working in superposition of each other, what they're doing is they are like playing a piano. They're working with your energy in the way that your energy needs to be worked with by playing a music sound in a sense. And it does that to help you no longer take on other people's energies. It helps you raise your energy frequency. It helps you feel stronger. It's pretty amazing what this pendant can do. But then it went away because I ran out of supplies. And the worst of it was I couldn't get any more. That really scared me. So I got into my body, okay, because that was the first thing. I got into my body and I connected with my pendants, and I looked on the internet to see if I could find more supplies, and I did. And I thought it was the exact same thing that I was getting before. And when I got them, they were very small. So just so that you understand what I do is I purchase the pendants with the loops and everything. Somebody else does that part, but I adhere all the crystals to them and I raise the energy frequency of them and add extra crystalline energies to them so that they work like amazing. They work like you you feel like you're a superhero when you wear it. It's just that profound. And so they were smaller. And so I said, oh, wow, I got to send these back. And then I realized I couldn't send them back because it was a final sale. And then I started sharing them with people. And everyone was saying, oh, I didn't know you had a smaller one. I would like that better. So people were like, can I get the smaller one instead of the big one? Can I get, and that was really great because people were loving the smaller version of the QET pendant. So I named them the QET Compact Power Pendant. And they are just as going off the shelf as much as the big ones because people tend to like it. Now, some people want to be more discreet and don't want to have such a big pendant, although they're not huge, they're still larger than this one. This one is about a little bit larger than half the size of a regular size pendant. So then there's other benefits to it. Some people are smaller or thinner or shorter, and they prefer a smaller pendant. Some people just don't want to tell people that they're using this pendant because they just want to be a secret for themselves. And so this one's more discreet. They can hide it more. They can put it in their pocket. It fits in smaller places more easily. People like it better for those reasons. When I use the pendant every day, I wear about 5 of them normally. That's what I normally wear. When I found that when you wear at least 2 of them, it's a game changer. Now, it's even a game changer when you just wear 1, but I recommend that you wear at least 2. So I'm making a special offer today just for you guys here. And that is, if you buy 2 of them, I'll give you a 3rd one for free. So that's pretty cool, right? So as long as you buy 2, you get the 3rd one for free. If you buy 4, you get 2 for free. Makes sense? So as long as you buy them in 2s, you get an additional one for free. I found that my energy works best wearing 5. You might find wearing 2 works best for you, but you might find that wearing 3 works best for you. Now, it does work interestingly because the travelers told me that when you wear 1 pendant, it just equals 1. But when you wear 2 pendants, it squares. So what that means is that you're going to be wearing the power of 3 when you wear 2 pendants. It says as if you're wearing 3 pendants. But if you wear 3 of them, it's like wearing 9, and so forth and so on. The more pendants you wear, the more it squares and the more it benefits you. For me, when I wear 5, I can handle things that I didn't think that I could handle. Recently, I had to have dental surgery. I don't know if you've ever had dental surgery, but it isn't fun. And I was not really feeling good about doing it because someone was going to pull some teeth out. They were the, they're the wisdom teeth. And so I was really scared to have them pulled out. But I did find a really good doctor, which was good. And I wore my 5 pendants to go and do it. And he offered me like a bunch of options. One was he'd put me out, but they didn't have time for that day. So I said, okay, that's not an option. And I didn't want to do that anyway. And the other one was Novocaine alone or Novocaine and laughing gas. So I just said, okay, well, I've never tried laughing gas before. Maybe it will just make me laugh and we'll be fine. So I said, okay. So we did Novocaine and laughing gas, and the laughing gas machine wasn't working. So that wasn't, it was only Novocaine is what I ended up getting. But I didn't really care. The pendants just gave me such beautiful energy that as he was doing the work, and he did it fast, it was seamless. It was easy. And I didn't expect it to be easy because I've seen people after they've had wisdom teeth pulled where their mouth looks like a chipmunk, where they weren't able to like eat for days and it hurt like crazy and all this stuff. And yes, it hurt a bit, but it was manageable because the pendants definitely helped me stay in my body, helped me raise my trust level so I wasn't scared to do it. And it was a game changer for me. Without the pendants, I don't think I would have been able to do it, to be honest. I would not have been able to do it. And this allowed me to, I'm a very sensitive person. You know, you're going to pull something out of me. I don't think so. That's just not for me. But it had to be done. It had to be done. And I had to be in a place where I could allow that to happen. And if it weren't for the pendants, I wouldn't have been able to allow it to happen. So that was good for me. That was good.
Shauna's asking, can you put on the 5 pendants so I can see what that looks like? She's wondering, how do you wear 5 pendants?
That's a good question. So I'm now, I can, a little bit tangled, but I can try to do that. All right. So, oh, here we go. So these are the regular size pendants because I don't have 5 of the smaller ones, but I'm wearing 2 already, 2 of the compact power. And then you just, put more on.
So you wear them all around your neck?
I do, but some people wear them in their pocket.
Yeah, I do too.
So you could put one in each pocket. Yep. Some women put them in their bra. Although I do recommend that you put them in a pouch or something before putting in your bra, because if you sweat, it'll mess up your pendant. So just, they sell those little cute little suede bags. Have you ever seen those? Or they're not suede, they're velvet or whatever. Yeah, they're really cute. You just stick it in there and put it in your bra. It works, but you don't have to have them around your neck. You can also have some under your blouse or shirt and some over. So I'm wearing about 5 now. that's what it looks like. Actually, people, I walk around. If I don't want people to see them, I just go like this, Ta-da, no big deal. If I like people to see them, because it's really is a conversation piece. Oh my God. When people see my pendants, they're like, what is that? I've got to hear what those are, So when I say, oh yeah, well, these are my pendants, they help my energy stay good. They help me be really strong. And also I have weightlifters using the pendants because they can lift more. It literally strengthens your body in that kind of way. It's so cool. So, you can wear 5. You can put them in your pocket if you'd like. As long as they're on your body somewhere, you're good. I like it here because what it does to your heart chakra when you wear them, it opens up your heart chakra and helps you maintain that feeling of empathy that we have as empaths, intuitives, and light workers. But it also releases a lot from your heart chakra. We hold a lot of stuff here. This is the area of the beliefs, values, and attitudes. And believe you me, not only the programming, but every single day, we get stuff that we pick up from other people and we hold in this area every day. Not when you wear the pendants though. When you wear the pendants here, boom, it goes away. It's just literally amazing. The thing is you could wear 5. That's what seems to be working for me. You could wear 2. I definitely recommend at least 2, because when people wear 2, that's when people say, Joshua, ever since I bought the second one, that's when I noticed these really great things happening in my life. And so I would just start with 2. If you don't have 2 yet and you have 1, then I would get another one. The power of wearing more is that they're each an energy device. And so when each energy device works with the other energy device, it makes it better. It makes it more powerful. Like I said, it's squares. So if I'm wearing 5, I don't know what is 5 squared. I could ask Alexa. Anybody know what 5 squared is? You're gonna go to your phone? Okay, your phone will tell you. Because I have math. Math is not my thing. Oh, she's asking. That's very good. She's like, what is 5 squared? Oh, I couldn't hear you.
It's 25.
It's 25. So it's like you're wearing 25 pendants. And oh, thank you so much. That was Elliot said that. Thank you. So yeah, 5. So that's a lot. And the energy of that is working for you. It's much easier to raise your energy frequency to 10,000 hertz energy frequency plus. I find that when people wear more pendants, originally in my classes, we have people going up to 10,000 energy frequency for the for the first time, the very first time they do it with their pendant. Now, when they have more pendants, like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they are getting higher than that. So Jesus was at the level of 100,000 energy frequency, which is what I aim for every day. So that's why I wear 5, so I can keep my frequency really high. And so the power of raising that frequency to get really, really high is that you get into that 5D energy. 5D energy is like heaven on earth. Everything that happens becomes good. And I think I felt that kind of experience when I was getting my teeth pulled, really. I know that's really weird to say, but I didn't feel concerned as I was wearing my 5 pendants and knowing what this person was going to do to me. I was able to do it. And it felt like it was okay. Things like that in my life have not been okay. I get very scared. I would go into anxiety. I'd have an anxiety attack, This is a very different experience. So and it doesn't just help for anxiety, by the way. It helps you feel stronger. It helps you move energy in your body. It helps you work that quantum level so much easier. One of my students always tell me this, Joshua, when I work with you, everything moves so quickly and I have instant results. When I work with myself, it doesn't happen so well. It's like, it's much harder. And sometimes I can get it to go and sometimes I can't, they would say. And I would say to them, I'm with you. That's exactly what happened to me. When I work with myself, I needed Joshua to work with me so that I could get the results that I'm looking for, And so the pendants are like the crystals, are living, right? They're like living beings. And so the crystals now become your companion and they start to help you along your life. And my students now are realizing their pendants are helping them along the way and giving them suggestions. They're sharing information to help them. They're keeping them out of bad situations. I just had a lady tell me her car had a problem, and she knew that her pendants stopped her from actually having a bad car crash because her brakes went out, but they didn't go out while she was driving. So she found out about it before that happened because of the pendants. So all sorts of amazing things have been happening with the pendants that have changed our lives.
Yeah, Joshua, I've noticed that with mine, it's helped me to transmute that lower gunky, heavy density energy that we're all feeling, because there's a lot of gunky energy on the planet right now as we're kind of separating or pulling apart. It's helped me to transmute that energy so much faster. And I only wear 1, but now I'm going to go get 4 more so I can really up level. Because I do believe that being in that higher frequency is vital. It's vital.
It is. And, I was striving to get to a high frequency. So I have this really, really cool tool that allows you to get to a very high, that it doesn't actually help you with frequency alone. It helps you manifest very, very fast. So I wanted to manifest a very high frequency. So I used the tool to do it. Boy, was that a mistake. I had said, and now I was just saying, I want to get to 1,000 energy frequency. That's all I want to do. And at that time, for me, that was very high in frequency. And so I said, it's above the love. 500 is the love level. 1,000 is doing really, really good. And I thought, I just want to be at that level. So what was happening was, as I used the tool to manifest that 1,000 energy frequency, what happened was it worked. I went to 1,000 energy frequency, but what happened? All the low frequencies in my body were trying to escape because it was not matching, like attracts like, right? So it was triggering me now. So all the low frequencies were like, well, you have to, in order to do this, Joshua, you need to resolve all this stuff. And
Yes.
so I was, I would call that a healing crisis. If you heard of that, right? A healing
Yeah.
crisis.
New
So
level,
I
new
was like,
devil.
right. So I'm like, how do I turn this off? Because this feels like crap and I'm not doing this, this is not a good thing for me.
Yeah.
So I decided, so I was able to turn it off. I redid the exercise and said, okay, we're only going to go to this frequency, which was, like 100 or something just to get it to stop. And it did. And I said, well, this isn't the way. But now with the pendants, because the pendants are balancing out your energy the entire time, you can go upwards of 10,000 energy frequency and not have any healing crisis, not feel bad, but feel good. And at that level, it's your choice. You can choose to let go of those low energies if you want to at that time or not. So if you don't have time, in other words, you don't have to deal with it, right? But if you're like, oh, I'm at this really great frequency, why don't I let go of a few things? You can. So it's your choice. It's kind of cool.
That's very cool. So people are starting to ask questions about them. Somebody said she sweats when she sleeps at night and it has discolored hers a little bit. What can she do about that?
So those little bags are really, really good to, they usually have a tie at the top. You can get them on Amazon. They're like these velvet bags. You just put it around it, you tie it, and then you're wearing it and it's not going to touch your skin directly, but it's still fine. And the energy goes through that bag really well. So it's not going to be you're not going to lessen the energy in any way. I would recommend that if you have more pendants, 5 will fit in those bags because they're small, but they can hold a lot. And so you could put it in one of those bags. If your pendant is discolored because of that and you want me to exchange it, just write to me, help@beingquantum.com, and I'll just exchange it to you for free. Just send it back to me and I'll send you a new one.
Wow. That's very sweet of you, Joshua.
Well, I do back up my product. I mean, that's an important thing to understand, that the pendants work fantastic. And if, our skin can create a discoloration in the pendant eventually if you use it all the time, and if your skin is touching it. So I don't let the skin touch it. So I like those little bags. They're very cheap. They're like $1, so
Yeah.
you can get one real easy to do that.
So now I shared the link that you
Great.
shared with me, but there's an error on the link. So could you just drop the link for them in the chat?
Yeah. So the error, I noticed the error too, but the error only happens not when you copy it out and paste it, but when you click it directly from where I sent it.
Okay.
So I can drop it in there for you though.
Yeah, that would be great.
It's iqet.com. I'm going to send it here. Oops, it says direct message. Let me change that to everyone. All right, everyone. Okay, so it's iqet. Oops, qet. Dot. I'm typing. qet.com /power. And I'm going to put www before it. And I'm going to put http :
There you go.
//
Someone is also asking if they can get them in Germany.
Oh yeah, well you can get them from me and I'll send them anywhere you want.
Okay. So just click on the link. You guys can follow the link to get all your questions answered. The website there will answer a lot of your questions. You can learn more about it there. Is there anything else, any other final takeaways, Joshua, that we didn't talk about that we still need to?
Well, I think it's important that what we're offering today are the compact power pendants and not the regular size. If you want the regular size, you could just ask, but these are the compact power pendants. They're smaller. They are just as powerful as the larger ones. They do exactly the same thing. They emit the same amount of energy. They're thicker too, but they're smaller in size. So they're more compact and easier to use. Some people like them because they're also not as heavy as the bigger ones. And that's a nice thing. But here's the real thing, the real deal. We want to take our power back. And just like we were talking about earlier, Janet, that we want to take our power back. And there's so many ways that we can get stuck in negative energy and other people taking our power away and that kind of thing. It really is time that we have a tool that will undo that, that will allow you to go inside, because it's really, the answer is always inside of you. These pendants, although they're a tool that it's outside of you, they're bringing you back into you so that you can be more confident, feel more powerful, step into your life quite differently, like I have. Put yourself in an energy place where you become even confident and unstoppable. And that's what I needed for myself, for sure. And if you're looking for that, then this is the right thing for you.
Wow. Joshua, thank you so much. I love you.
I
I
love you too.
I do. I don't know many people, some of you know, some of you don't, but Joshua was really instrumental in helping me kind of learn some tools way back when I was in a really dark place, energetically and spiritually and physically. I was having some health challenges, and your teachings through quantum energy transformation really did profoundly shift my life into a better direction, allowed me to follow that inner path. I was able to release a lot as I worked with you and through your program. And I'm just so grateful for your willingness to share that. I think that doing your inner work is a vital piece for every human on the planet right now, because the planet is evolving. And if we want to evolve in that upper into those upper dimensions and increase and up level, then we as physical human beings have to find ways to up level as well. And we do that by doing our inner work. And you've been so instrumental in helping me on that path. And I just thank you for that. I have so much gratitude for you.
You're so welcome. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that for you.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how really connecting to yourself fully, being in your beingness and strengthening yourself can change your life like nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so happy that happened for you too. That's amazing.
They're asking if they need a coupon code.
No,
Okay.
no coupon code needed. Isn't
No
that
coupon
cool?
code.
I made it simple.
You guys are great. Go ahead and get those taken care
If
of.
you
We'll drop the link down in the replay also over on YouTube as well. And you can just follow that path and get what you need.
And if you buy 2, you get 3. It doesn't say it there, but if you're buying 2, you're going to get an additional one. If you buy 4, you're going to get 2 additional ones, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you again, Joshua, for your wisdom and for providing a wonderful tool for us so that we can be more sovereign, spiritually sovereign human beings, because this is what we want. So, all right, everybody, have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye, everybody.